It's a chilly damn night in St. Louis, Missouri, and we welcome you to sold-out Busch Stadium for Game 7 of this National League Championship Series. The Houston Astros and the St. Louis Cardinals tied at 3 apiece. The home team has not lost a game in this NLCS. Hi again, everybody. I'm Tom Brenneman, welcoming you to playoff baseball here on Fox. No Major League franchise has played or won more Game 7s than the St. Louis Cardinals. Tonight is their 13th. They're 8-4 in their prior 12. The Houston Astros have never played in a Game 7. And Steve Lyons, with that in mind, who better to have on the mound if you're going down this road for the first time than Roger Clemens?
Well, if you think about it, no pitcher in the history of the game has taken the ball in a Game 7 more than Roger Clemens has. This will be his 4th, but he's evolved so much as a pitcher over his career. He used to be a guy that would blow you away with 97-mile-an-hour fastballs, use his pinpoint control. Now he's a finesse guy with a power pitcher's mentality. Gets guys out more with sliders and split-finger fastballs. I talked to Scott Rolen before today's ball game, and I said, Scott, which of Roger Clemens' pitches are the most deceptive? He looked me dead in the eye and he said, his fastball, his slider, and his split finger.
The challenge tonight for St. Louis, Jeff Suppan, a 16-game winner, Bob Brenly, during the regular season, including this LCS. He has locked up with Clemens 4 times this year. He's not beaten him yet.
Well, Suppan arguably has been the Cardinals' best starting pitcher in this postseason. 7 strong innings of 2-hit ball against the Dodgers in the clinching game of the division series. The game you mentioned, Game 3 against Roger Clemens, he pitched very well after the first inning. He's a guy that relies on command, on movement, and on his defense to make plays behind him. This Cardinal defense has been perfect in the postseason, and they'll need to be perfect behind Suppan tonight.
Roger Clemens is making his 30th career postseason start. He's never lost against a National League opponent in postseason play. Jeff Suppan has been sensational on the road. He's struggled at home. These two teams, going back to February, have been waiting for this day, a chance to go to the World Series. Game 7 next on Fox. Nary a seat to be found at Busch Stadium in downtown St. Louis, Missouri. Baseball fans, grab a cold, fresh Budweiser because it's game time. Roger Clemens at 42 years old, 1 year younger than the franchise for which he pitches for tonight. The Houston Colts, a 45, started back in 1962. And Roger Clemens, although born in Dayton, Ohio, grew up a Texan and trying to send the franchise from that state to the World Series. And here come the St. Louis Cardinals. Take a look at Bill Garner's starting lineup tonight. Craig Biggio leads off in left field. Carlos Beltran is in center. Jeff Bagwell at first. Lance Berkman in right. Jeff Kent, the second baseman. Morgan Ensberg back in the lineup at third, with a ladder third of Jose Vizcaino, Brad Ausmus, and Roger Clemens. And on the mound for St. Louis, a 16-game winner during the regular season, 1-1 in the postseason, Jeff Suppan.
Look at those postseason numbers, some of the numbers that you were talking about in the open there, Bob. He has been a very good pitcher without the numbers to back it up for the Cardinals. He's got about 8 pitches. We learned that in his first start. He's got to have great location. He's got to pitch down in the strike zone with all 8 of those pitches in order to be effective.
Talked about St. Louis. We cover the field defensively. Yet to commit an error in this postseason, and the defense brought to you by State Farm. Sanders, Edmonds, and Walker in the outfield. Rolen, Renteria, Womack, and Pujols along the infield. A battery of Suppan and Mike Matheny. And yes, Tony Womack is in the starting lineup. For more on that, let's send it downstairs to Chris Meyer.
Tom, I spoke with Tony moments ago about the severe lower back spasms that took him out of last night's game early. I asked him if he would consider acupuncture. He said, we've tried everything. The pain is still there, but I'm going to give it a go. He is going to be dropped down to 7th in the Cardinal batting order, though. Trainer Barry Weinberg said they'll give him painkillers. He'll wear a heat wrap the entire game. They hope that the back doesn't stiffen up. The greatest concern is his body torque when he's batting. trying to get a full swing. He won't be 100%. The Cardinals are hoping that Womack's pain won't hurt their chances of getting to the World Series.
And they moved Tony Womack down to the 7th spot in the lineup. Tony La Russa told us before the game that they were hoping to push, that word he likes to use when he talks about the running game. And with Womack's cranky lower back, they put Edgar Renteria in the leadoff spot, a guy who is healthy and who can run the bases effectively.
Our broadcast is also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. Game 7 of the National League Championship Series from Busch Stadium in St. Louis. And Craig Biggio to lead it off for the Astros. Only 5 of 28 during this LCS. He looks at a strike and we're underway. Biggio, 17 seasons in an Astros uniform, has logged 2,409 games, the second most among all players without ever having appeared in a World Series. Second only to Rafael Palmeiro. Bill Garner took over the All-Star break for Jimmy Williams. You see his record since being named manager. They won 36 of their last 46 to leapfrog 6 teams that were ahead of them in the middle of August to capture the National League wild card. In the air, down the left field line. If it's fair, it's 1-0. It's fair, it's 1-0. The 43rd career leadoff home run by Craig Biggio. It's his first home run, his first RBI of this LCS.
His 8th leadoff home run of this season, including the entire regular season. He goes out and hammers this pitch. Look at him reach all the way across the plate, gets out in front of a ball that looked like a changeup, and kept it fair.
Just extended his swing, kept that bat in the strike zone a little bit longer. You can see that ball hooking, but just does stay fair.
The visiting team has scored in the top half of the first inning in 6 of now 7 games played in this series. And ironically enough, in the first 6 games, that visiting team has yet to win a game. Now Carlos Beltran. What an absolutely phenomenal postseason he has had, tying Barry Bonds for most home runs in a postseason with 8. Breaking ball swung on and missed.
It'll definitely be a bad sign if you see a lot of balls hit in the air against Jeff Suppan. We talked about it. He has to keep the ball down, rely on his movement to get ground balls. Only 7 of the 18 outs he recorded in Game 3 came on ground balls.
That one off the end of the bat, popped up at Womack, 1 away.
Let's take another quick look at that home run by Biggio to lead off the game. And Bob, you talked about him extending his swing. He'll get out in front of himself here a little bit because the ball's an off-speed pitch, but look at how he keeps his hands back and keeps his hands through the hitting zone. Most guys will break down and throw that top hand over, and that's how you get a weak ground ball to the third baseman.
Now Jeff Bagwell. Told you Biggio has worn a Houston uniform for 17 years. Bagwell 14 years. And has logged 2,100 plus games in a Houston uniform. He's yet to homer in this postseason, although he knocked in the tying run with a 9th inning single off Jason Isringhausen here yesterday afternoon.
Biggio giving himself a little room to flex his muscles there. You know, big home run hitters, those jerseys sometimes get a little tight.
1-1 to Jeff Bagwell. Swung and missed, a ball and 2 strikes.
You look in the scouting report about Suppan and his 8 pitches. He'll cut his fastball, sink it, 4-seam it. He'll take different arm angles on his breaking pitches. Sometimes throw the curveball harder. Matheny laughs about it. Says, I don't have enough fingers to put down there to call all the pitches he's going to throw at me. That's an easy one.
Good old-fashioned number one.
And Bagwell hits it hard into left center field. Sanders overran the ball and to reach back the other way and got it. A lot of top spin on that line drive.
Well, Bagwell, too, goes out over the plate and hooks that ball back to left field. You can see Reggie Sanders about a step too far there, had to reach back. Boy, we've seen Reggie make some great adjustments out there in the outfield in this series. Another one right there.
The ball must have been hooking back to his right as he was chasing it. And, of course, maybe he may have got a little glimpse of it in the lights here, too. We've seen that happen in this ballpark.
Playing conditions, the field is very wet still in the outfield. They've had all kinds of rain here over the last week. Only a light sprinkle on and off today. Breaking ball swung on and missed by the cleanup hitter Lance Berkman. 3 home runs in this series with 9 batted in. There are some gaudy numbers up and down this Houston lineup in their careers against Jeff Suppan. Jose Vizcaino has hit .565. Bagwell and Kent each at .400. Suppan did not get a win going head-to-head against Roger Clemens 3 times during the regular season, and then game 3 of this series. 2-2.
Well, the top 5 opposing hitters, 3 of them are Houston Astros against Jeff Suppan. They're the numbers you talked about, Tommy.
Inning over. Biggio leads off the game with a home run. And now the Astros hand the ball to Hall of Famer to be Roger Clemens. 1-0 Houston in front after a half inning. Cardinals come to bat. Tony La Russa's lineup. Told you Edgar Renteria leads off for the first time since August of 2001. Larry Walker in right, Albert Pujols at first. Scott Rolen at third, Jim Edmonds in center. Reggie Sanders in left. Tony Womack batting 7th. Mike Matheny the catcher. Jeff Suppan on the mound. Against a 6-time Cy Young Award winner Roger Clemens. Strike 1 to Renteria. Another outstanding year for the future Hall of Famer. An 18-game winner. 2-0 in 3 starts in the postseason.
And really 2 different, completely different styles of pitcher here tonight. Clemens wants you to miss the ball. Suppan needs you to put it in play.
Check swing. They appeal. He didn't go around. 1-1.
Check out the scouting report on Clemens. 2 different fastballs. He can cut it or four-seam it. 2 different sliders. Got a Brad Lidge type slider and one that's a little more of a slurve. Works down in the strike zone a lot more, and a little contradiction there. He needs a high strike so that he can get hitters to chase up pitch up in the strike zone as well.
Fastball at 94 miles per hour up and into Renteria. Clemens will do that. He talked about it before the game 3 start. Really never came in on any of the St. Louis batters.
But he definitely planted a seed in their mind.
Renteria fast 2-2.
There's no question that part of Roger's game, and always has been part of his game, is intimidation. You put intimidation, a little bit of fear in a hitter to go along with the great stuff that Roger has. Makes it awfully difficult to hit him.
Fouled out of play. The only time Renteria has hit in the leadoff position since 2001 was this year's All-Star game. See his career numbers. Batting leadoff, just 6 points less than all other spots up and down the batting order. 2-2 pitch. Off the outside corner, the count is full. Hopper down to Morgan Ensberg, and Renteria retired. Let's cover the field defensively.
Brought to you by State Farm. Video, Beltran and Berkman in the outfield. Ensberg, Vizcaino, Kent, and Bagwell third to first. And a battery of Clemens and Ausmus. The Astros did not start this series playing well defensively, but now 4 straight games without an error. Swing and a miss by Larry Walker.
Wonder if Walker got himself some Visine this morning. He was walking around 2 days ago asking which day was Clemens going to start because he wanted to make sure he knew which night he wasn't going to be able to sleep.
Taken away in the first inning of Game 3 of this league championship series. Walker homered to deep left center field off Roger Clemens. The only 2 runs Clemens allowed in that game were home runs to Walker and Edmonds.
Mostly fastballs from Clemens so far.
Walker only 6 hits in the series, 2 of them for home runs, and it's taken outside. 3 balls and a strike. Popped up and playable. Left side of the infield. Ensberg crosses into foul territory, and that's the second out of the inning.
This is called establishing your fastball on both sides of the plate. First pitch, up and in. Then he goes away for a ball. Next pitch comes back in, all fastballs, then away. And then trying to go to that same spot again, gets the pop-up through nothing but fastballs. He's telling the Cardinals right now, I will establish at about 93, 94, and then you'll have to deal with my other stuff when I feel like throwing it.
Power against power as Albert Pujols digs in and he looks at a strike. Much like Beltran for the Astros, it's been an extraordinary postseason for Albert Pujols. A .500 batter in this LCS with 4 home runs and 8 batted in. A ball and a strike. Roger Clemens has won 5 consecutive postseason decisions and has allowed 3 runs or less in 23 of 29 playoff starts. His team is 11-4 in his last 15 postseason outings. 2 balls and a strike.
Of course, Clemens spending most of his time in the American League. But the 2 numbers that jump out at you, he has never lost to a National League opponent and has never lost to the Cardinals.
2-2 to Pujols. In his career in Game 7s, we told you tonight is his 4th, the most all-time. He was tied with Bob Gibson, the Cardinal great in that category, and he's been mighty good. Although he did struggle Game 7 of the American League Championship Series against Boston last year, left the game in the 4th inning, trailing 4-0. The game that, of course, was won on the Aaron Boone home run in extra innings. Slider away, 3-2. 3-ball count to every batter in the inning.
Now, pitch count has always been a concern with Roger Clemens on the mound. It's not unusual for him to get up over the 100-pitch mark in the 5th inning of the ball game.
Clemens shaking off Ausmus a couple of times. Center field, playable for Lance Berkman and Roger Clemens. A 1-2-3 opening inning. We go to the second. 1-0 Astros in front. Set to begin the top half of the second inning. Game 7 of his National League Championship Series with the Astros in front 1-0.
Jeff Kent, Morgan Ensberg, Jose Vizcaíno coming up against Jeff Suppan. Kent just 6 hits in the series, but 3 of them for home runs, including the walk-off to break a scoreless tie in the bottom of the 9th inning of Game 5.
Jeff Kent homered against Suppan in that Game 3 that we've talked about in the first inning, a 2-run homer. And really, Suppan settled in nicely after that, gave up only 2 base hits over his next 5 innings of work.
Gave up 3 in the first of that game, gave up just 1 in the first of this one.
2-0. At the knees, a strike. This home run in Game 3, as Bob mentioned, came in the opening inning with 2 men out. It gave Houston a 3-1 lead. Told you about the numbers for Kent in his career against Suppan. He's worn out this entire Cardinal pitching staff all year long. In 24 games against St. Louis. And remember, these two teams both play in the same division. So they met 18 times during the regular season, with Houston winning 10 of the 18. Kent hit .340 and knocked in 21 runs. Full count.
Of course, because of all those matchups, is why we talked about Suppan and Clemens matching up 5 times this season alone. Suppan told me that I faced him 2 times when I was in the American League too. I can't get away from the guy.
Payoff pitch coming to Kent, and he takes a breaking ball down and away, and he draws a leadoff walk. For those of you that have been focused primarily on the American League Championship Series, we bring you up to speed. In Game 1, a 4-4 game until the 6th inning. The Cardinals got 6 runs and won it by 3. In the 8th inning, tied at 4. Pujols and Rolen went back-to-back off Dan Miceli to win the first 2 games at home. We go to Houston, and the Astros rip off 3 straight wins, led by Clemens in Game 3. In Game 4, a 5-5 tie before Beltran homered against Julian Tavares. The game winner by Kent in the bottom of the 9th of Game 5, and the game winner by Edmonds in the 12th inning here late yesterday afternoon. It has been a fantastic series. Morgan Ensberg did not start the game here yesterday. Mike Lamb got the nod and hit a home run. Ensberg lifts a fly ball at Larry Walker for the first out of the inning. Only 3 times since a best-of-7 format into the playoffs in the World Series. Only 3 times has the home team won every game. 87, 91, and the 2001 World Series, when a club managed by Bob Brimley beat the Yankees 4 games to 3.
How about that?
You remember a few of those games?
Vaguely, yeah. A lot of fun.
One of the greatest lines I ever heard came out of that series. When you guys were in a little bit of trouble and they asked you who you wanted to get up down in your pen, and you said Rivera. They told you he pitches for the Yankees. Would have been nice if he could have got up for you.
Yeah, I think the manager ought to have that option to pick any reliever from either team.
Into left center field, and the hot hitting for Jose Vizcaíno continues against Jeff Suppan. We told you Vizcaíno with the highest career batting average against Suppan than any player Jeff has ever pitched to.
And we continue to see the Astros hitters hit the ball in the air against Jeff Suppan. It's so vitally important for his success to keep that ball down, get the ground balls to turn double plays to escape big innings. So far in this game, a lot of pitches elevated, a lot of pitches lifted in the air.
That's nice balance. I think we were already seeing a little glimpse of the managerial styles right now. Garner deciding not to bunt the runner over with Ensberg up, letting him swing away, and he pops up, whereas Tony La Russa is more willing to play small ball, especially in this game.
Strike to Brad Ausmus. Only 2 hits in 16 at-bats in this series without a run batted in.
Well, Tommy, you mentioned Vizcaino swinging the bat well lately, but sometimes a sacrifice bunt, you have to look who are the following hitters. You don't always want to advance a runner into scoring position for the bottom of your order.
Now you have to face the pitcher. He's going to come up too, no question about it. But if you're going to win this game, you certainly have to look at anybody trying to contribute, especially with Vizcaino hitting very well against Suppan. Give Ausmus a shot to break out.
1-1 to Ausmus. Breaking ball down and away. Astros hitters laying off those breaking balls down that induce primarily the ground balls that Suppan is looking for.
Well, there's no question that both of these teams know exactly what the pitchers are going to try to do. There are no secrets at this point in the season. As you mentioned, they faced each other 18 times in the regular season. They've seen each other 6 times in the last week. Scouting reports, videotape, there are no secrets at this point in the season.
In the air, deep left center field. Edmonds on the run. Dives, and he got it! Throw into second base. They can't double up. Ken, what a play by Jim Edmonds!
There is no way he catches this ball. Look at where he is. Look at the ground he's making up, and the full dive and extension away from the play. Fantastic effort.
Guy has been a human highlight reel his entire career. Great diving catch. Both the runners were on the move. You'll see it here on the right side of your screen. Had this ball been thrown to a cutoff man, they conceivably could have gotten Vizcaino at first base. He was well off the bag at first.
And they thought he had no chance of catching that ball as well.
Now Roger Clemens down a strike. What a huge play that could turn out to be in this game and in this series. And this series has come down to this game.
Saves 2 runs. You end up with a guy on third with only 1 out.
Ball fouled off. John Tamargo, the Houston bench coach, wearing a microphone. Our Fox sounds of the game after that catch by Edmonds.
How in the world did he make that play? Son of a gun.
A lot of coaches have said that over the years about Jim Edmonds.
I think one of the things that made that even a more difficult catch for Edmonds is the fact that he's left-handed. If you're a right-handed player running away from the ball like that and catching the ball on the left side of your body, you're reaching and backhanding the ball, and it's a much easier play than having to reach the way Edmonds had to do to catch that ball.
Point 3 to Clemens. One more look at this fabulous diving play by Jimmy Edmonds. Jimmy Edmonds, a spectacular diving play to save for sure 1, perhaps 2. The line drive to deep left center field by Brad Ausmus with 2 aboard. So now Roger Clemens in the second inning with a 1-0 lead. This is ball 1 to Scott Rolen. Rolen 8 of 25 in the series with a pair of home runs. This one is straight away center. Playable for Beltran. 1 away. Of course, the spectacular is nothing new for Jim Edmonds. A 6-time Gold Glove winner. Going back to his days at Anaheim and here in St. Louis. But none
bigger than the top of the second inning here tonight. Game 7 of this NLCS.
Outruns the ball.
First pitch swinging Edmonds on the ground to Kent. Quickly 2 away in the Cardinals' second.
He may have gotten a little help from Mother Nature on that catch out there in left center field. The flag's on top of the stadium here, blowing straight in from center field. Of course, once the wind gets inside the bowl and starts swirling around, you never quite know what it's going to do. But that ball appeared to get up there and just kind of flutter and gave Edmonds a chance to run underneath it and make that great catch.
Oftentimes we talk about outfielders that have such great speed they can outrun their mistakes if they don't get great jumps on the ball. Edmonds does not have the blazing speed. He just doesn't make mistakes.
Strike 1 to Reggie Sanders. Up until yesterday, it had been a very quiet series for Sanders, Tony Womack, and Edgar Renteria. Chopped down to third. Throw in the dirt, picked out of there by Bagwell, and that'll end the inning. We play 2 in Game 7, 1-0 Houston. 1-0 ball game, Houston in front. We go to the third. Throughout this LCS, we've identified a key matchup in the game to determine who holds a DirecTV advantage. Look at these numbers. Identical in wins, team batting average, runs scored, and ERA. That's not a typo in any category. Greg Biggio, who produced the game's only run with the first ever leadoff home run in a Game 7 in postseason history.
Tommy, you made a great point between innings. Roger Clemens had a 3-ball count and a 3-2 count to every hitter he faced in the first, and in the second inning he threw 5 pitches total.
1-1 to Biggio, and he hits another one down the left field line. This one is caught by Sanders in front of the wall. Carlos Beltran, told you already, 8 home runs in this postseason, tying Barry Bonds for the most ever. He has scored 20 runs, a postseason record. He's done it with a bat. He's done it with his legs. 5 stolen bases in the postseason. And he had a play much like the one Edmonds made a while ago at Minute Maid Park to take away perhaps an inside the park home run off the bat of Edgar Renteria. Two and 0 to Beltran.
Yeah, it's been quite a coming out party for Carlos Beltran. Of course, people around baseball, people in Kansas City knew what a great player he was, but getting the opportunity here on the big stage to show what he's all about.
That one bounces up there. 3-0 to Beltran. Talked about his defense in a scoreless game. If that ball gets by him, it's 436 feet to straightaway center field. And Renteria had a legitimate chance to catch them all. And then later, he went up Towles Hill in deep left center, corralling that drive off the bat of Reggie Sanders. And a 4-pitch walk to Beltran. He had 42 stolen bases during the regular season. Since coming to the National League, he has not been thrown out yet in 33 stolen base attempts. 28 in a row during the regular season, 5 in this postseason.
In potential base stealing situations, the Cardinals pitchers have at some point during the next at bat held the ball, go into the stretch position and just hold to see if that runner will commit.
5 straight pitches out of the strike zone by Suppan, and Matheny going to come out there and visit.
Suppan can throw a fastball in the low to mid-90s. He runs it up there occasionally 94, but most of his stuff, breaking balls, change-ups, slower pitches, late breaking sliders, tough to handle for a catcher if you have to throw. A great guy for Beltran to be able to get a great jump and steal a base on. And he will be stealing it on Suppan, not Matheny.
World Series begins at Fenway Park in Boston this Saturday. 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, 4:30 Pacific. Will it be Houston or St. Louis to take on the Red Sox? 2-0 now to Bagwell. We saw Beltran score all the way from first base on a double down the third base line from Bagwell in the 3rd inning yesterday that hit the padding prior to going down into the left field corner.
Astros really making Jeff Suppan work in the early going here. We mentioned he needs to keep the ball on the ground. So far, not one ground ball out in this game for Jeff Suppan. A good base stealer will change the complexion of the game in a hurry. Changes the defense, changes the catcher's thinking, changes the pitcher's thinking. Just the threat of stealing a base.
And I don't think a lot of people have talked about the great second half of Bagwell due to Beltran on in front of him.
There he goes. Pitch taken, throw to second base, and he's in there easily. 34 consecutive stolen bases since coming to the National League by Carlos Beltran, including the playoffs.
And you called it, Steve. There was nothing Mike Matheny could do about that. Just an awesome jump over there at first base. Yeah, Beltran is really a student of the running game. We've seen him throughout this series get on first base and gradually take a little more lead, and get the most unbelievable jumps.
Of his 42 stolen bases during the regular season, he was 16 for 16 stealing third. Fly ball, right center field. Edmonds over to get it. Beltran tagging, and he's going to come to third. Here's a throw, and it gets by and into the dugout, and Beltran will score. They say offense can take days off, pitching can take days off, speed never takes days off. And Beltran has run Houston into its second one of the game.
Edmonds plays this ball well. He gets behind it, gets a little momentum going, and just uncorks the throw to third base, knowing it has to be perfect to get Beltran. Gets by everybody and into the third base dugout. Second run of the game for the Astros.
They're going to make an appeal at second base, but he did not leave early, and that's going to be a tough error for Jimmy Edmonds. The ball, Beltran, and Rolen all get into third base basically at the same time, and then it kicks away into the dugout.
What a magnificent postseason it continues to be for Carlos Beltran. That is the first error of this postseason by the St. Louis Cardinals. Berkman lined into center field, and Edmonds has it 2 on the inning. The Astros score without a hit, a walk, a stolen base, and an error. 2-0 Houston. Carlos Beltran throwing a 1-out walk in the 3rd inning, steals second. And on the fly ball to center field, tags up, goes to third, an errant throw brings him home. 2-0 Houston as the Cardinals bat against Roger Clemens, last of the 3rd inning, looking for their first base runner of the game. One and one to Womack.
Womack being dropped down in the order with the back spasms. Morgan Ensberg thinking that he might be more apt to bunt because he can't swing, but you got to remember he can't run very well either.
He had base hits in his first 2 plate appearances yesterday before leaving the game. Fouled out of play third base side. Clemens ahead 1-2. And Clemens very sharp early on.
Very sharp with his command. His velocity's good. He just seems to be in a real nice rhythm out there on the mound. Well, after that first inning, when he went 3 ball count on all 3 hitters, including 2 full counts, the Cardinals were very aggressive in the second, getting him off the hook with only 5 pitches.
Fouled away again.
Talked about him in the open being more of a finesse guy now with a power pitcher's mentality. There's a possibility that this may be Roger Clemens' last game ever, and he came out in that first inning wanting everyone to remember that he's a power guy.
Into left center field. It'll fall a base hit. Biggio over to cut it off. Here comes Womack to second base. Throw there, not in time. Womack slow to get up.
Well, guys, you never wish an injury on anybody, but I wish my back hurt that good. Look at him turning it on.
And this head first slide at the end puts his body in a little bit of an awkward position. That can't feel good for a man that's been suffering from back spasms for the last 24 hours.
Got a sweet move right there, knowing that if there was going to be a tag applied, it would come from the other side of the base.
Mike Matheny just 2 of 16 in this LCS without an RBI. Fouls it away. He's down a strike. Well, Tony Womack, for your Arizona Diamondbacks in 2001, Bob Brenly, had arguably the 2 biggest hits in franchise history. Game 5 of the division series, eliminating the St. Louis Cardinals with a game-winning single off Steve Kline, and then the double which knocked in the tying run, the bottom of the 9th inning, Game 7 of the World Series against Mariano Rivera. That is a fair ball, and Matheny will advance the runner to third. We caught up with Tony La Russa an inning ago, and here's what he had to say.
Tony, you've seen this happen a lot of times with your career here in St. Louis, and since Edmonds has been here, that catch saved you a couple runs.
Well, you know, that might end up being the difference in the game. That's at least 2, and who knows what more, but that's a great play.
You know, Tony Womack scheduled to lead off the bottom of the 3rd inning for you. Explain your thinking in moving him down in the lineup and putting Edgar Renteria in the 1 hole.
Well, Edgar was going to hit first if Luna played, and then I thought, you know, there's a chance that Tony can't finish this game, and then the replacement Luna hits at the top of the lineup. That's really not very fair to him, so let him in the 7th spot, and if it's not a bad spot, he's leading off the next inning.
And he leads off this inning with a double. Here comes a squeeze, and it's going to work to perfection.
Absolutely perfect. Tony Womack waits until Clemens committed to deliver the ball to home plate. Suppan waited, and then just pushed that ball out to the right side of the infield. Tony La Russa said he was going to push even harder tonight against Clemens. And when he says push, he's talking about base running, hit and runs, stolen bases.
Renteria dumps it foul.
And what Tony La Russa said about Womack as we look at the squeeze again, great jump, perfect execution. What Womack just went through in that series of plays could get him out of the ball game, and if it does and he has to be replaced, he certainly did his job for the time he was in the game.
Grounded foul. Clemens ahead of Renteria at 0-2. So very early in the game, the Cardinals playing small ball. They get the leadoff double by Womack. Matheny moves him to third with a ground ball to the right side, and then Tony La Russa rolls the dice, and Suppan brings in the first Cardinal run of the game. Tony trying to get the Cardinals to the World Series for the first time since 1987. Good play by Clemens on a high hopper. And that'll end the inning. The suicide squeeze. Game 7 of the National League Championship Series. End of 3, 2-1 Houston. St. Louis, Missouri, 2-1. Houston leads. Game 7 of this National League Championship Series at the end of 3. Close to 53,000 on hand tonight at Busch Stadium, where the Cardinals have not lost a Game 7 in the postseason since the World Series, when Mickey Lolich outdueled Bob Gibson in Game 7 of that World Series. A ball and a strike to Jeff Kent, who walked in the second inning. And Kent hit with a pitch.
Look at that pitch from Suppan. Runs up and in. Just clips Jeff Kent's jersey. Astros with the leadoff man on here in the 4th inning. Ensberg did not bunt back in the 2nd when Kent walked to lead off. We'll see what they do here.
Ensberg flied out to right field in that at bat. Bodies beginning to stir in the St. Louis bullpen.
There's the hold you were talking about, Bobby.
Well, it serves a couple of purposes. The runner may tip something, the batter may tip something, and as we see, Gene Lamont is forced to go through another set of signs, and Tony La Russa and his staff are probably the best in baseball at trying to steal the opposing team's signs.
No sign of a bunt on the first pitch to Ensberg. He dumps it away. Strike 1.
Remember the story that Tony La Russa told us before Game 3 of the series. He wouldn't tell us who the player was, but he said he was an average player, not very good, but he was great at stealing signs. We kept him on the roster just for that. Getting an advantage.
The 0-1 to Morgan Ensberg. Nope. Our throw will send Jeff Kent back to the bag.
It's a very spooky feeling when you're the opposing manager over in that third base dugout and you go through a set of signs to your third base coach and you take a look over at Tony La Russa's side of the field and you've got about 8 sets of eyes beaming in on you. Tony will hide behind the TV camera on occasion over there in that first base dugout. Bench coach Joe Patini, Dave Duncan the pitching coach, Mitchell Page the hitting coach, Dave McKay the first base coach, all have responsibilities as to who they watch when the signs are given.
A lot of the bench players, guys that don't play every day, a few guys that aren't even on the roster, some of the starting pitchers will also do the same thing and watch players to see if pitchers are tipping their pitches.
1-2 to Ensberg.
See if they can pick up anything from the middle infielder. Sometimes guys will move on a breaking ball. Look for Renteria to maybe take a step and a half to his right on a breaking ball, thinking that Ensberg might pull it.
Again, fouled out of play. It remains 1 ball, 2 strikes. That pitch count beginning to pile up for Suppan here in the 4th inning. Clemens through 3 has only thrown 35 pitches. Suppan knocking on the door at 20, better than that. Low and in, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Suppan, a teammate with Roger Clemens when he was originally drafted by the Boston Red Sox, was selected by Arizona in the expansion draft, pitched there for half a season, moved on to Kansas City where he really got his career on track, moved to Pittsburgh last year, then traded to Boston, did not pitch in the postseason for the Red Sox, fouled back out of play. Cardinals took a flyer on him this season, and boy did that pay off. Grew up in Southern California, where his father, his mother, and Jeff have just opened a restaurant, Soup's Grill. What else would you expect? 2-2. Fouled away again. Pretty good at bat here by Morgan Ensberg.
And a better swing right there by Ensberg. Some of the swings earlier in the at bat were a little more defensive, fouling balls off to the right side. This is a very good aggressive swing there. Really let it go.
This will be the 8th pitch in this at bat. And a check swing, foul ball.
That was a defensive swing right there. The ball almost would have hit him. He didn't get his bat on it. Way up and in.
Yeah, in the sternum.
Right off his fist.
Ken at first, nobody out. Top half of the 4th inning. And again, the 2-2. Breaking ball low to run the count full. Now, Ensberg has struggled in this series. We told you just 2 of 19. Ken had 7 stolen bases in 10 attempts during the regular year. Bobby, you start him here?
I think you can. Ensberg only struck out 46 times in over 400 at bats this year. Pretty good chance he's going to put the ball in play. I'd go ahead and start the runner.
Steve, you start him?
Run. Got to be aggressive. Both teams have played that way all series long.
He's not going. And it's fouled away. A 10-pitch at bat thus far for Morgan Ensberg.
One of the things that Phil Garner did when he took over this team was put everybody on the green light. He said, I got a veteran ball club that knows when to run, when not to run. They're smart, and we have to be more aggressive if we're going to be any better.
Saw Kent taking a peek in towards the catcher Mike Matheny. We've seen those eyes of Tony Womack through the years when he takes his lead over at first.
One thing to think about is the balls earlier in this series that were fouled off the foot of Jeff Kent. They were worried originally that he may have broken his foot as he peeks in to see the signs.
3-2, there he goes. Lined into left field, it'll fall, a base hit. Kent, an aggressive turn, but will stop at second base. So the Astros leading by a run, 2 on and nobody out. And Jose Vizcaino coming up. Dave Duncan going to come out and visit with Suppan. Okay, fellas, let's get back to strategy for a minute as Danny Herron starts to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. You have a guy in Vizcaino who's hitting nearly 600 in his career against Jeff Suppan. You have the number 8 hitter waiting in the on-deck circle, Roger Clemens after that. If Vizcaino puts down the bunt, they may walk Ausmus to force Clemens up to the plate with the bases loaded and 1 out. With all that in mind, do you guys ask Vizcaino to bunt right here or let him swing away?
I think in this particular situation, because of the following hitters, you have to let him swing away. At some point, if he gets the count in his favor, hit and run is a possibility. You don't like to really hit and run with 2 runners on and nobody out because of the fear of hitting into a line drive triple play. But the way Vizcaino's swinging, I think you let him keep hacking.
I don't mind the bunt here, even if you do walk Ausmus, because Clemens will come to the plate with the bases loaded. He's outstanding with the bases loaded, and you have 2 outs to work with.
First pitch swinging, Vizcaino drops it foul. He singled into left center field his first time up.
Fastball inside, a ball and a strike to Vizcaíno, who after the single his first time up. 14 hits in 24 career at-bats against Jeff Suppan. Breaking ball fouled off behind the plate. We invite you to play Hit the Pros, presented by the all-new GMC Canyon, and face real pitches from today's best hurlers. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword games. GMC, we are professional grade. Jeff Kent leads at second. Morgan Ensberg at first with nobody out. 1-2 to Vizcaíno. Down and in to even the count. On the ground, down to first. Pujols to second. And Renteria wisely sticks it in his pocket rather than taking the chance of throwing it away. Runners on the corners, 1 out.
Albert Pujols has become a very serviceable first baseman down there. Good quick jump step to make a nice throw on to second to get that lead out. Just great footwork, good quickness.
That's the first out recorded on the ground by Jeff Suppan in this ballgame. We talked about it at the top of the show. He's a sinker slider guy that needs to keep the ball down, let his defense work behind him. Every out before that in this game had been either a strikeout or a fly ball.
Ausmus without an RBI so far in this LCS. His first time up, he hit the liner to left center field, and Edmonds made the diving play on to save 1, if not 2, if not more than that. Bounces up there, blocked beautifully, as he has done through his entire career, including this series by Mike Matheny.
If you're a young catcher at home and you want to learn how to block balls, pay close attention to these two catchers in the game tonight. Mike Matheny, the best in the business. Kicks his feet out. Look at his upper body leaning over to make sure that ball bounces down, stays in front. This one actually hits him on the right arm and gets about as far away as a ball will ever get from Mike Matheny.
And that ball took a very odd hop, about a foot farther to his right than anyone expected, and he still knocked it down.
Pitch out. So putting Suppan in a hole here at 2 balls and no strikes with runners on the corners and only 1 out.
Ausmus in a good position to hit right now, but if he gets into a situation where he fouls off a pitch, with the luck he's been having in this series, he's the one that hit the ball that Edmonds ran down. I'd drop a bunt down the third base line.
3-0.
Not in that count.
Clemens walking back to the Houston dugout. On Brad Ausmus. Wow. Pitcher on deck, 3-0 count.
Well, he has to throw another strike right here.
Kent the runner at third, Vizcaíno on at first. 3-1 to Ausmus. Very defensive swing there on a pitch down and in, and the count is full.
That's the kind of swing on a 3-1 count that'll drive a hitting coach crazy.
balls, 2 strikes. Check swing, did he go? Yes. A failed chance for Brad Ausmus.
Big break for the Cardinals. As I mentioned before, Clemens has come to the plate in his career 3 times with the bases loaded. 3 hits with 6 RBIs.
He's looking for his first hit in the postseason in 2004 right now. It runs inside for ball 1. He's 1 of 14 in his career at the plate. And at third, Vizcaino at first, 2 away. And fouled out of play by Clemens, a ball and a strike. Clemens, 42 years old. A 10-time All-Star, 6-time Cy Young Award winner, the most by any pitcher. He may get his 7th this year. Randy Johnson may get his 6th this year. 1-2.
Obviously, the Astros are hoping that Roger Clemens can do something offensively here and try to cash in that runner from third base. But at worst, they've gotten the pitcher spot out of the way this inning and will start over fresh at the top of the order next inning.
Before Game 5, Clemens had his oldest son Kobe out taking some batting practice in Minute Maid Park, regularly depositing balls into the left field seats and giving his father some hitting tips.
2-2 to Clemens. Strike 3 call to end the inning. Suppan works out of the 2-1 nobody out jam, and the big hitters coming up for the Redbirds, down a run. Bottom of the 4th inning, Game 7 of this National League Championship Series. And the heart of the order coming up for St. Louis. Larry Walker, Albert Pujols, and Scott Rolen. Walker popped up in foul ground on a 3-1 pitch his first time up. Clemens only 35 pitches to get through the first 3 innings of this game. He's ahead of Walker at a ball and 2 strikes. Well, Beltran, of course, the big pickup for Houston at the trade deadline. Larry Walker, the same, coming over from Colorado for the St. Louis Cardinals. In the air, left center field. Plenty of room out there for Biggio. 1 away.
We saw the way Roger Clemens worked Larry Walker in his first at bat, putting him in the rocking chair. Fastballs in and out. He starts in with a fastball here. A little two-seamer that came back over the heart of the plate, missed down low with the splitter that I think he overthrew. Another fastball for a strike, and then Walker with a good swing at that heater out over the plate, lifting a fly ball into left center field.
Clemens tonight has done an outstanding job establishing that fastball so that he can set up the slider and the split finger for later in this ball game. 2nd time around for certain hitters, 3rd time around for others.
The 11 batters he's faced thus far, strike 1 on 10 of them.
Albert Pujols flied out to right his first time up, and excuse me swing dropped foul and out of play. Albert Pujols in his postseason 6 home runs, so he's only 2 off the base, set by Barry Bonds in 2002 and Carlos Beltran this year. And the 6 home runs, a Cardinals postseason record. Tardy again on a fastball, lifts it down the right field line. Out of play.
You look at the 2 at-bats that Walker has seen almost all fastballs, 1 overthrown split finger, as you said, Bob. Pujols, mostly fastballs. That will change as the game goes on, but what a job he's doing, basically, with the old number 1.
0-2 on Albert Pujols. He had a good rip at a fastball there and fouled it straight back.
And Bobby, you talked about the number of times that Clemens has shooken off the signs from Ausmus, and almost every time he does, it's because he wants to go back and throw the fastball. Amazing. 42 years old.
Split finger misses down low. Since turning 40 years young, Roger Clemens has won 44 games with an ERA of barely 3.5. And opposing hitters in the American League and now his first season in the National League, 240 against him. Pulled foul. I think it's safe to say that oftentimes Clemens talks about his idol, who pitched into his early 40s, Roger Clemens' idol, Nolan Ryan. And fellas, we're seeing 2 of the game's all-time greats pitch in their 40s this year. Clemens at 42, Randy Johnson at 41. Johnson may have had his best season ever this year on a team that lost 111 games. They rank 2 and 3 on the all-time strikeout list. 2 hopper to Kent, and Clemens has set down Pujols twice tonight.
Well, one thing all those guys have in common is their work ethic. Work extremely hard in the offseason to get ready for the grind of the regular year. I remember in the Astrodome leaving the ballpark as a visiting player, walking by the weight room a couple of hours after game time, and Nolan Ryan was still in there throwing the iron around, working out. I mean, it's not just an accident that these guys are as good as they are at this age. They work extremely hard.
Scott Rolen digging in. Breaking ball down and away. Rolen flied out to center field. His first time up. Check swing and a miss. Let's send it downstairs to Chris Myers.
Tom, usually on a day when a guy pitches, not even his teammates talk to him, the closer he gets to game time. But a couple hours before tonight, Clemens in the clubhouse, the teammates talking about a fishing hunting trip that went awry. He said things didn't go as planned, but in the end it all worked out well, and it was worth the trip. He had his teammates chuckling and relaxed. He said, tonight I hope it's worth the trip for all of us. Roger Clemens keeping it light and pitching for the Astros, well, the most important game in franchise history.
Why they brought Roger Clemens back home and talked him out of retirement after signing Andy Pettitte to pitch in games like this one. We've seen a lot of that over the last 3 days of the playoffs. That's why the Boston Red Sox went and got Curt Schilling. That's why the New York Yankees went and got Kevin Brown and Javier Vasquez. How will Clemens fare here tonight? Rolen jumps all over that fastball at 95 miles per hour and hooks it well foul.
Here's Roger's wife, Debbie, and Kobe, his oldest son, on her right. Kobe has a big baseball tournament down in Florida this weekend. Roger's hoping that he's still busy and can't go. He said, I'm going to send Mama down there. A lot of scouts want to see him play.
Check swing, fouled out of play. It was a unique situation when Clemens decided against retirement. Andy Pettitte talking him into coming back, but he didn't want to make all the road trips unless he was pitching. So he called up Craig Biggio and Jeff Bagwell, and he said, this is what I'm thinking about doing. I want to spend more time at home. Do you mind if I don't make every single road game? They talked it over, said, come on board, big fella. We'd love to have you. Three and two still to Rolen.
Clemens was 12-3 at home this year, but interestingly enough, when I talked to him, he said, you know what, I want the road games here. That's why he wanted to pitch in game 2 of this series on 3 days rest. He said, I can handle a hostile environment on the road maybe better than some of the younger guys. I'll block it out better than they will.
8th pitch in this at bat. Straight away center field. Beltran at the warning track. And up against the wall, makes a play. We're back after a break from your local Fox station.
Stand up!
Top of the 5th inning, game 7 of this National League Championship Series. The Houston Astros trying to get to the World Series for the first time in franchise history. 43 years since they began playing in the National League. Strike one to Craig Biggio. Biggio led off the game with a home run down the left field line.
Like a changeup out over the plate, down a little bit, went out and hooked it into that left field corner. You know, after spring training starting in February, 162 game regular season, the division series now here in the LCS. We came out of the managers meeting with Phil Garner this afternoon at 4 o'clock, and Craig Biggio in a pair of shorts and a t-shirt, bat in hand, headed down to the cage, get a little extra work in.
Two-one to Biggio. Swing and a miss.
Suppan generally relies on late movement, like he gets out of that pitch right there, and Biggio swings right over the top of it.
Break-even pitch on the way. Full count. 2 runs, 3 hits. 4 men left on base for Houston. 1 run, 1 hit, 1 big error. And nobody left for St. Louis. 3-2 pitch. Got him swinging. Well, the last 2 days in this National League Championship Series, we've had walk-off home runs. Jeff Kent in Game 5, Jim Edmonds here yesterday. Are you guys surprised, Steve? I'll start with you, that a home team has not lost a game in this series.
Well, not that surprised, especially with the way the rotation worked out. I mean, I think we thought that the Cardinals would have an advantage in the first couple of games, and then going down to Houston, where they don't lose at all, and then getting the chance to see Clemens and Oswalt in games 3 and 4 down there. Not that surprising.
First pitch swinging Beltran, and a 100 rolling, quickly 2 gone for Suppan here in the 5th.
Well, plus, I think there's something to be said for the home crowds. And obviously, the fans here in St. Louis have been outstanding for a number of years, and the Astros fans responded to the challenge. That was one of the loudest venues I've ever been to in my life down at Minute Maid Park.
Boy, the people in both of these cities have been fabulous. Southwest part of America, down in Texas, and here in the heartland of America, the Midwest. We thank the Astro fans and Cardinal fans for all their hospitality during this series. Oh, and 1 to Bagwell with 2 down and nobody on here in the 5th. In the air, left field. Sanders back to the warning tracks. Makes a play to end the inning. Jim Edmonds will lead it off for the Cardinals' 5th. We had the game winner yesterday. 2-1, Houston in front. 42-year-old Roger Clemens set to begin the bottom half of the 5th inning. He's allowed 1 run on 1 hit and leads 2-1 in Game 7 of this National League Championship Series. Edmonds digging in. Strike 1. Bottom of the 12th inning against Dan Maselli. Brought us to Game 7. Get a look at National League Championship Series history. 6 walk-off home runs. We've seen walk-off home runs in each of the last 2 games of this NLCS 2004. Roger Clemens without a strikeout thus far tonight. The last time he went longer in a game without picking one up, September the 19th, 2001. In a game against the White Sox, did not get his first strikeout until the 6th inning. He's proven you don't have to strike him out to get him out. Into right center field, a base hit for Edmonds. Big turn by Edmonds. He'll stop right there with a leadoff single representing the tying run.
Last time the Cardinals had the leadoff hitter on was when they scored their only run of the game in the 3rd inning. Tony Womack led off with a double. Now Jim Edmonds here in the 5th inning with the leadoff single. You mentioned Clemens without a strikeout in this ball game. That's part of the equation for keeping that pitch count down. I mentioned at the top of the show that it's not unusual to see him at 100 pitches in the 5th inning. He isn't even up to 60 in this ball game yet.
In Game 3 of this series, he didn't get his first strikeout until the 4th inning.
Then struck out 7 of the next 13.
Yep. Boy, we saw that replay again of Edmonds' home run ball in last night's ball game. We talked about him being a high ball hitter. That darn thing was almost over his head.
Now Reggie Sanders. Fastball away.
Reggie Sanders with a good rip right there. 3 hits in the ball game last night, and more than any hitter in this series, Reggie has really come on in the last couple of ball games. Even the last game down in Houston, he hit the ball very hard. The play Beltran made backing up Towles Hill in center field was a ball that Reggie hit 430 feet to straightaway center.
And he hit that line drive that Ensberg caught at 3rd base when Brandon Backey was working on a no-hitter into the 5th.
We talked about him last night, very much a streaky hitter. He can carry a team on his shoulders for weeks at a time. And he can struggle mightily when he's not swinging well. But last 3 ball games, Reggie has really been squaring it up.
Sanders bounced to 3rd, his first time up tonight. And a 1-1 pitch. Swung on and missed. Got him with a breaking ball.
That's what you can do to Reggie. Get him thinking fastball and then throwing the breaking pitches away. Second on this Cardinals team in strikeouts with 118. This is great placement by Clemens. Outer half. A lot of weapons for Clemens now. Up and in, lower away.
They go low and away, and Sanders doesn't chase it. 2-2. 2-2 pitch. Check swing, fouled away. It gives us a chance to tell you our Budweiser fantasy player Johnny Damon won a Game 7 last night, driving in 6. Log on to foxsports.com, keyword fantasy baseball. Tonight's game brought to you by Budweiser. Grab a cold, fresh Budweiser. It's game time. Congratulations to Terry Francona and the Boston Red Sox. The last time they reached the World Series, Roger Clemens pitched and won Game 7 of the American League Championship Series, 1986. What does that tell you about his longevity? To think the last time the Red Sox have been to a World Series, he won Game 7, and here we are 18 years later.
Of course, Red Sox fans would just soon not be reminded as to how that series ended.
They get another shot to end the curse of the Bambino.
Edmonds only 8 stolen bases on the season, but Clemens paying almost no attention to him at all.
Two-two. Got him looking. We had a chance a moment ago to catch up with Houston pitching coach Jim Hickey.
Jim, the Rocket off to a good start in the ball game tonight. Seems to be throwing a lot of fastballs in the early part of this game.
Well, I think that was part of the plan. You know, he felt pretty good. The weather is cool. You know, he's trying to get himself loose to get himself into it. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go away from that a little bit as the game progresses.
Offensively, you guys have not been as aggressive tonight as you have been in the past.
Well, the first sending Edmonds back to the bag. Well, Jim Hickey right on the nose there. Here in the 5th inning, we've seen a lot more breaking balls from Roger Clemens than we saw in the first 4 innings.
Yeah, mostly that slider. A pitch he's gone to away from the right-handed hitters. Haven't seen a lot of splits. He threw a few splits to Albert Pujols in his last at bat, but mostly fastball slider so far in this game.
I think that's a sign that Clemens is actually battling through some things. I don't think he has a good feel for that split finger tonight.
Steve, you touched on it a moment ago, and Clemens talked about it. His last start in this LCS Game 3, he was really battling with his stuff through the early part of the game, and he was lights out from the 4th inning on.
You see him blowing on his hand out there on the mound, as you mentioned, Tom. A very cool evening, and sometimes it's hard to get a grip on that baseball on a cold night like this. And the splitter figures to be the pitch that he would have the most trouble gripping.
Yep. Rolen one to Tony Womack, who doubled and scored the only Cardinal run. Ground ball, base hit into center field. Beltran charging hard and keeps Edmonds at second base. So Womack, 4 consecutive hits.
Now that's a play because of the way Tony Womack hits. He hits a lot of balls the other way. You got Vizcaino playing more in the 6 hole than he normally would be in a double play situation. That should be a ball where generally he'd be closer to second base, and that would be a made-to-order double play ball. But because Womack hits a lot of balls to the left side of the infield, he had to protect over there.
Tony Womack only had 3 hits the first 5 games of this series, and now has base hits in each of his last 4 trips. Here's Matheny trying to butt his way on, stabbed at it, missed it, throw to first, and they get Womack. How about that play? And Tony La Russa going to come out and argue with the first base umpire, Eric Cooper.
It's an automatic pickoff for a catcher. Anytime a batter bunts through the ball, the natural reaction of that runner is to try to get an extra step out there and advance to the next base. It sure looked like Womack got his hand on the bag there before the tag. Osmus checked the runner at second base before electing to turn and fire to Jeff Bagwell at first.
that play was made by Bagwell as he saw Womack getting off the bag a little bit farther. Bagwell's running towards first base and calling for the ball. Kind of blocked Womack away from first base, but it did look like he got his hand in there in time.
Yep, looks like Houston gets a big break on that call.
Bagwell just trying to stay in the way so that Womack can't get to the bag, but looked like he got in there.
And once again, another hard, awkward slide by Tony Womack. I wonder how that makes that lower back feel.
I'll tell you, when you hit a double and you slide into second, it feels a lot better than when you get picked off of first base.
Good point.
Now Matheny looking for his first RBI in this LCS. We get another look. So close.
And once again, the umpire, Eric Cooper, trying to get into position to see, but because of Jeff Bagwell's positioning on that bag, I don't think he really had a good look at the tag.
Tying run at second, 2 balls and a strike to Matheny. Into short center field. Beltran coming. And he's got it to end the inning. 2 hits, 1 left. We go to the 6th, 2-1 Astros. 2-1 ball game at the end of 5 in Game 7 of this National League Championship Series. Both starting pitchers throwing the ball very well here tonight. Jeff Suppan for St. Louis. Roger Clemens for Phil Garner's team. They have locked up 4 times head-to-head this year. And Suppan has not won once in the prior 4 meetings.
Well, Suppan back out on the mound here to pitch the 6th inning. He probably would have been taken down for a pinch hitter. Certainly would have been taken down for a pinch hitter. Had Tony Womack not been picked off first base, and then Matheny end the inning with that fly ball to center field.
It's a big inning for him too, being a finesse type guy, going through the order of Berkman, Ken, and Ensberg, all of them with power to hit the ball out of this park.
To Berkman. Down and in, a ball and a strike. .88 pitches for Suppan. Only allowed 3 base hits. His last start in Game 3, he allowed only 5 hits in 6 innings. Berkman chases the pitch up, and it's out of play. The Astros have hit 25 home runs during this postseason. Only 2 shy of the San Francisco Giants, who hold the postseason record with 27 in 2002 when they lost to the Anaheim Angels in the World Series in 7 games. Berkman has 4 postseason home runs. Tardy on that fastball lifts it down the left field line. Sanders over near the stands and runs out of room. You would have lost a lot of money if you would have thought the Houston Astros were going to the postseason about the middle of August. They had 6 teams ahead of them in the National League wild card race. They went 36-10 over the final 46 games. They were picked before the season ever began to contend with the Chicago Cubs in the National League Central. But the Cardinals ran away with the division, winning 105 games during the regular year. The Astros lost 2 of their top starting pitchers due to injury during the season, Andy Pettitte and Wade Miller. But here they are. In a lot of ways, they're quite similar to the National League champion Florida Marlins of 2003. Started under 500 in Florida before Jack McKeon took over and then got red hot. The Astros, a 500 team. Phil Garner took over, got red hot. 3-2 to Lance Berkman.
I'm loving this at bat by Berkman right now. Swung through a bad breaking ball for the very first strike, and since that time, he's been fouling the fastballs off and spitting on all the bad breaking balls in the dirt just like that, right off Matheny's helmet. And now he's worked himself to a 3-2 count, and he's been right on every pitch.
And takes strike 3, and he knew it. We talked to Jeff Suppan about how he prepares himself for this big postseason start.
One way I try to train myself is through visualization. It's a technique that I learned through just reading books or talking with people, where you see yourself in a situation, in a moment during the game, or actually you can watch somebody else throw. For example, I could be watching Woody throw, and I could see myself or see how he's attacking and visualize myself doing it.
Jeff Suppan, one of the most likable people to wear a major league uniform. I mean, he is just a delightful young man.
Well, when you think about the talent level in the major leagues, it has to be something else that sets guys apart. And the mental part of the game is so important.
High fly ball. Sanders comes in and makes a play. 2 away. Jeff Suppan got the start. Looking to try and finish off the Dodgers in the National League Division Series. Allowed 2 hits, 2 runs, got the win. Threw the ball very well in Game 3 of this LCS. Allowed only 5 base hits and only 3 runs. But Roger Clemens and Brad Lidge were too much for the Cardinal offense.
Yeah, just the ability to focus, to concentrate, block out the distractions.
On the ground to Rolen. And that'll end the inning. Suppan, 6 strong innings here tonight. He's on the short end of a 2-1 ball game. Climbs the hill, last of the 6th inning, Game 7 of this National League Championship Series. And the pinch hitter, Roger Cedeno, batting for Suppan. There was talk Cedeno might get the start in Game 3 against Clemens, and the numbers would certainly tell you that's not a bad idea. 10 hits and 24 at-bats against Clemens in his career. To Cedeno. Another terrific outing for Jeff Suppan in this postseason.
It wasn't typical Jeff Suppan. We didn't see a lot of ground balls like you normally see when he's on the mound, but effective nonetheless.
Kiko Calero will come on in the 7th inning. 2-1 on Cedeno. And a bouncing ball under the glove of Kent. Cedeno can run. He slams on the brakes as Beltran gets to it in right center field. 11 of 25 Cedeno against Roger Clemens. Wow.
I think Cedeno does a great job up there, especially against a guy like Roger Clemens, of not trying to do too much. Put the ball in play, get a good hard pass at it, let it go where it wants to. In this case, to the right of Jeff Canton up the middle for a base hit. Tendency for some hitters when a guy throws hard like Clemens does, or has the type of power that he does, is to go up there and try to swing even harder.
Cedeno can fly over at first base.
5 out of 6 in stolen base attempts this year as a part-time player. He's had some big stolen base years in his career. Stole 66 for the Mets back in '99, 55 for the Tigers in 2001. And with that in mind, Clemens paying a lot of attention. Tony La Russa told us before the game that Clemens doesn't like to do this. He doesn't like to worry about the runners, doesn't like to field bunts, just wants to get out there on the rubber and do what he does best.
Doesn't like to have to worry about a potential hit-and-run situation right here with Renteria at the plate either.
Tony talked about pushing. He said they were going to push last night, and they did. Said they were going to push even more tonight when they have the opportunities.
Well, he couldn't ask for a better opportunity than this right here. Cedeno at first, and Renteria at the plate. And he squares, takes high, ball one. No activity in the Houston bullpen. Talked to Phil Garner before the game. He said his first option, unless Clemens pitched through 8 and had a lead, then you hand it to Brad Lidge, would be Roy Oswalt after Clemens.
The only problem with that, if Clemens would happen to get in trouble in a hurry, Roy Oswalt is going to take a lot longer to get ready than a relief pitcher. He's used to a routine that he goes through as a starting pitcher. Will probably take more pitches to get ready, take a little bit longer. So if Clemens would happen to get jammed up in this inning, I would look for him to go to one of their relievers. And especially with the pitcher spot due up third next inning for the Astros, you certainly wouldn't bring Roy Oswalt into the ballgame unless you double switch.
One on the Renteria. And again he squares, and again a breaking ball is taken high. 2-0.
Roger Cedeno is dancing around over at first base, taking little fake jab steps. I think just to see if Clemens can actually see him. Clemens isn't even looking at the runner on first base. Watch Cedeno. Little jab. He wanted to see if Clemens can see him. Clemens isn't even looking at him. He's looking straight ahead, almost right over at the third baseman before he goes and delivers to the plate. Even when he throws over to first, he's just turning and firing it to his first baseman.
52,140 on hand at Busch Stadium. Tying on a board in a 2-0 to Renteria, and again Clemens backs off the rubber.
We talked about it earlier when Carlos Beltran reached on the one-out walk and ended up scoring, how speed changes the ball game, and you've seen this game come to a grinding halt. Clemens paying a lot of attention to Cedeno over there at first base.
There goes the runner. Foul, back out of play. More than any other hitter in his lineup, Tony La Russa likes to play hit and run with Renteria at the plate.
You see Cedeno peeking back toward home plate, which is usually an indication that it was a hit and run. On a straight steal, the player will generally just focus in on second base and go as hard as he can with his head down. On a hit and run, they want to take a peek back as that ball enters the hitting zone.
3 steps and a look.
Renteria showing bunt there as Clemens stepped off the back of the rubber, but Renteria is such a heads-up player. When he saw Clemens step off, that could have been a decoy.
Runner not going here. He squares, puts the bunt down. Clemens will play to first, takes the out there. Renteria advancing the tying run into scoring position.
This is why Edgar Renteria has made himself so valuable. A good hit and run guy. Now they ask him to go ahead and lay the bunt down. He deadens it right in front of home plate. Make sure that the only play is to first and you move the runner up. Anytime you send a hitter up that can do that many things, he can drive a ball out of the ballpark, hit a gap, pull off a hit and run for you if you need it, and then if you ask him to drop down a bunt, he can do that too. That's a guy that's going to be #1 on their list to re-sign for next season.
Tying run at second base, and Larry Walker the batter. He's fouled out to third and flied out to left. Fastball up. Clemens missing up in the strike zone for the first time all night with both breaking balls and fastballs here in the 6th inning. And still no activity in the Houston bullpen.
Walker might start getting a little comfortable at the plate. He's seen almost exclusively fastballs from Clemens.
One over Larry Walker. High again. Biggio led off the game with a home run. Houston made it 2-0 on a walk, a stolen base by Beltran. He scored on a throwing error. Cardinals scored in the 3rd inning on a suicide squeeze. Bottom fell out of that pitch. 2-1 to Walker.
Took a little bit off of that fastball. A two-seamer, ran it away from Walker. He's been trying to keep the ball away from him for the most part in all of his at-bats. But remember, in Game 3, the home run that Walker hit off of Clemens was to the opposite field on a ball away from him.
Clemens okays a sign. Now the 2-1 coming to Walker. Roller up the first base line. Clemens has it. Gets he out. Advancing on to third is Cedeno. With a tying run 90 feet away, and here comes Albert Pujols. It's Phil Garner coming out to visit with Clemens rather than pitching coach Jim Hickey. We remind you Saturday, Game 1 of the World Series from Fenway Park in Boston. One of these two teams in Game 1 of the World Series, Saturday 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, 4:30 Pacific. 81 pitches in the game for 42-year-old Roger Clemens. Tonight making his 30th postseason start. He's won 328 regular season games in his Hall of Fame career.
The strategy meeting there with Phil Garner and the entire infield gathered around the Rocket on the mound. Albert Pujols 2 for 14 lifetime against the Rocket with no extra base hits. Scott Rolen, the on-deck hitter, 5 for 16 lifetime. And believe me, Rocket knows those numbers.
Tony La Russa was talking about all the different kind of things that Albert Pujols can do. Morgan Ensberg playing way back. Drop a bunt down, you walk home. This
Strike one to Pujols.
This is a guy that's potential MVP of this series, known for his power, has done a tremendous amount of damage with his power. And in a game like this, you get runs home any way you can.
Fastball high and away to even the count on Pujols. who has 6 home runs this postseason, 13 runs batted in. He has been the Cardinals' best hitter the entire season. He has been their best and most consistent hitter during this league championship series. The entire lineup went south when this series went south, besides Poole. Rip at a fastball, still at 94 miles per hour. So the question posed on the sign you saw a moment ago, is a rocket out of fuel? Doesn't look like it.
Well, Albert Pujols presents such a challenge for an opposing pitcher. The book on him is to try to get ahead in the count, which Clemens did, and then expand the strike zone. But when you talk about expanding the strike zone on Albert Pujols, you've got to put it a foot outside, maybe 2 feet outside. We've seen him reach out off the outside corner in this series and hit balls hard. We've seen him golf balls out of the dirt. We've seen him tomahawk balls up around the letters.
One to the Poole. Into left field, and we are tied. Pujols into second base. A 2-2 game.
Pujols starting to change those numbers. Clemens first pitch fastball right down the middle. Then he went away from him with a fastball. Then up in the strike zone. Pretty good pitch to hit. Pujols missed it, and then he didn't miss the exact same pitch the next time around. Clemens with poor location in that at-bat against Pujols.
Now Rolen with a chance to give the Cardinals a lead for the first time tonight, which he does. Is it gone? Yes. Down the left field line by Rolen, his 3rd home run in this LCS.
Clemens not making the adjustment. We talked earlier on how he has been challenged in the middle of the order with fastball after fastball after fastball, and everyone thought that he may adjust and go to his breaking pitches later in the game. He didn't do it, and he's getting hurt.
Now Jim Edmonds. First pitch swinging, comes up empty. Dan Wheeler begins to throw in the Houston bullpen. This St. Louis batting order can hurt you top to bottom. Scored more than 800 runs during the regular season. And boy, the heart of this order: Walker, Pujols, Rolen, Edmonds, Sanders. 0-2.
Boy, for me, it really gets back to getting the leadoff hitter on base, a guy with some speed. It really changed the inning. Roger Clemens was working in such a good rhythm. Get the ball and pitch, get the ball and pitch. Cedeno reached base. Suddenly Clemens had to distract his attention or divide his attention, and has made some mistakes in this inning.
Struck him out to end the inning, but the Redbirds strike for 3. We're back after a break from your local Fox station. Scott Rolen breaks a tie with a 2-run home run in a 3-run Cardinals 6th inning.
right after Pujols had doubled on 3 pitches that he could have hit. Rolen sees the first one right down the middle and hammers it.
Tony La Russa will hand the ball to Kiko Calero. He had been scored upon in Game 2 and Game 4 of this series before going an inning and a third yesterday of 1-hit shutout baseball. He's thrown very well here in the postseason. Jose Vizcaino to lead it off. Little roller left side. 1 pitch, 1 out. America's #1 pregame show is back. And this Sunday we take a look at the Jets' best start in franchise history and their attempt to end the Patriots' winning streak. Plus, they'll bring down the Packers' chances to get back in playoff contention. Fox NFL Sunday returns this week, noon Eastern, 11 Central, 9 Pacific on Fox.
Well, look for Brad Ausmus to try to have a lengthy at bat here. I wouldn't be surprised if he steps out of the box a couple of times. Roy Oswalt just began to throw down in the bullpen as this inning started, and a quick 1 pitch out to Vizcaino. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to get ready to take the ball for the next inning unless Ausmus and the pinch hitter on deck can stall for some time here.
Palmeiro's already come out. There's a good chance. Now, certainly I've seen Clemens throw his last pitch in this ball game. We watched him strike out Edmonds to end the inning. Maybe the last pitch he'll ever throw in his Hall of Fame career.
Clemens undecided about whether or not he will return next year. One and two the count on Brad Ausmus. Started 2 and laid off. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Top half of the 7th inning. St. Louis leading Game 7 by a pair.
It's a unique situation for Clemens. We've talked about the great deal that he has pitching for his hometown team and not having to go on the road all that often, able to watch his sons grow up. Might win the Cy Young Award and then ride off into the sunset. How many guys win the Cy Young and go away?
Sandy Koufax, the only name that comes to mind in that category. And Ausmus gone swinging.
Late breaking slider from Kiko Calero.
It's a pretty good view of it that you would see as a hitter. Looks like you can hit it when you start to swing at it. Drops off a table and ends up in the dirt, and you look silly. And everyone says, how can you swing at that?
Palmeiro, a pair of hits and 6 at-bats in this LCS. Slider on the inside corner, a dandy from Calero. A ball and a strike. Biggio waits in the on-deck circle. Jeff Suppan again. A terrific effort. His 3rd in a row in this postseason. 1-2 to Palmeiro.
Pitches with late movement will make big league hitters look silly. That ball was in the dirt. Even Mike Matheny had to reach across to make a backhand play right there.
Roller up the first base line, foul.
Watching Roy Oswalt warming up down in the Astros bullpen, it appears that he will be ready to enter the game. The at-bat by Brad Ausmus, and now Palmeiro has allowed him to throw enough pitches that I'm sure he'll be loose as he comes into this ball game.
Oswalt, the Game 4 starter in this league championship series, got knocked around. He gave up 8 hits and 5 earned runs in 6 innings. And Palmeiro hit on the leg with a 1-2 pitch will bring Biggio to the plate, representing the tying run.
Calero's really been all over the place. He's thrown a couple balls way in the dirt that have been swung at, and then that ball way off the plate, hitting Palmeiro in the leg.
The Cardinal bullpen, sensational during the regular season, had really struggled in the first 5 games of this series. A bullpen ERA of over 7.5. Then yesterday, they got terrific work out of that bullpen. Jason Isringhausen, their closer, gave up a run in the 9th inning, which allowed Houston to tie the game. But King, Calero, Isringhausen, and Julian Tavares allowing only 1 run in 7 innings.
Talked to Tavares before today's ball game about the treatment on that left hand. Takes a series of pain-killing shots, 2 on the top of his hand and 1 underneath it.
Biggio fooled on the changeup. 1 ball and 1 strike.
Says every 4 hours that pain medication wears off, and he tries to come back for more. He said he talked to his father about it, and his dad said it serves you right. It should hurt. His dad was very upset with him.
Biggio homered, leading off the game. He since lined to left and struck out. Thought about it. It's high, 2-1. What a big batter this is right now for Kiko Calero. But standing in the on-deck circle is Carlos Beltran. To short, force out on the inning. 7th inning stretch time at Busch Stadium. A 4-2 Cardinal lead. We keep it right here for the singing of God Bless America, performed by Busch Stadium organist Ernie Hayes.
Please rise, sing along with Busch Stadium organist Ernie Hayes as he plays God Bless America.
St. Louis leading as the Cardinals come to bat last in the 7th inning. Orlando Palmeiro remains in the game. Craig Biggio is out, part of the double switch. And now the National League's only 20-game winner during the regular season, Roy Oswalt, comes on in relief and throws about a 53-footer. These are his numbers in his career as a reliever. He only pitched 1 game out of the bullpen this year. Oswalt has talked about having a tired arm here late in the year. That was a 95-mile-per-hour fastball to Reggie Sanders. Sanders, Womack, Matheny in the Redbirds' 7th inning. And lots of activity now in the St. Louis pen. Palero got him through the 7th. You have Beltran, Bagwell, Berkman coming up in the 8th. Julian Tavares getting loose. Grounder to Vizcaíno. Sanders retires. It's October and the Major League Baseball postseason coming down to the wire. Every inning, every game, every play counts. Watch the World Series on Fox starting this Saturday. Don't miss it. Joe Buck and Tim McCarver will be on hand for Game 1 at Fenway Park in Boston. Ball 1 to Tony Womack. Swing and a miss. Tony La Russa with 1 World Series title on his resume. Of course, that was the World Series marred by the earthquake in Northern California in 1989 when the Oakland Athletics swept the San Francisco Giants in 4 games. Two-1 to Womack. 3 balls and a strike. This is the 3rd time La Russa has brought the Cardinals to the National League's Championship Series. He's yet to get them into the World Series. In '96, they had the 3-1 lead over Atlanta. They scored 1 run in the final 3 games against Maddox, Glavine, and Smoltz. And then they took a quick exit in 2000 against the New York Mets. Lost in 5 games to Barry Bonds and the Giants in 2002. Sharp breaking ball, and Womack gone swinging 2 away.
It's a sharp breaking ball that's going to send some sharp pains into Womack's lower back. Take a big swing and miss. You see the tumbling rotation. You get out in front on your front foot. That'll make your back hurt.
That's really the first breaking ball that Oswalt has thrown near the strike zone. I think it was the 5th or 6th breaking ball he's tried to throw in this inning, and the first one that he's gotten in or near the strike zone.
Matheny first pitch swinging and a fastball behind a strike.
Preparing to come into the ball game as a reliever is completely different than preparing as a starting pitcher when you can take your time. Most starters take 15 to 20 minutes to warm up before the game, and as we know, relievers, that phone rings, you have to get ready in a hurry.
It appears as though we will see Julian Tavares in the 8th inning. Marlon Anderson, a pinch hitter, stands in the on-deck circle. But we don't get that far in the inning. A very impressive 7th for Oswalt. Beltran to lead things off for Houston, down to their final 6 out. Game 7 of this National League Championship Series. The Cardinals lead 4 games to 2. Houston jumped in front. The very first batter of the game, Craig Biggio, led off with a home run down the left field line. Then with 2 on and 1 out in the 2nd inning, the defensive play of the series. A suicide squeeze produced the Cardinals' first run, and then a 2-2 game, and Rolen just over the left field wall. Brought in Pujols, who had tied the game with a double, and that's where we stand at the end of 7. Julian Tavares takes over on the mound. He came out of the bullpen and out of Tony La Russa's doghouse yesterday pitched 2 perfect innings and got the win in Game 6. Carlos Beltran got him for a home run in Game 4 to break a 5-5 tie. Tavares walked 2 batters, hit a batter, was so upset in the dugout, slammed his non-pitching left hand into the phone and broke 2 bones in the left hand. And then got fined $10,000 by Major League Baseball when he threw a pitch around the head of Jeff Bagwell. They had Beltran defended perfectly. While we have a moment, let's send it to Los Angeles. Here's Jeannie Zalasko.
Well, the Red Sox haven't reversed the curse, but they've certainly reversed the trend. This time, Boston did the eliminating of the Yankees to advance to the World Series. The Fall Classic returns to Fenway. Game 1, Saturday on Fox, 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. The Red Sox just waiting to find out who they'll face.
One out in the Houston 8th inning. And now Jeff Bagwell, who's 0 for 3. Slider in there, strike. Here's Ringhausen, begins to throw in the Cardinal bullpen. Julian Tavares had an outstanding regular season, pitched in 77 games with an earned run average of 2.38. This was his role all year long. Two balls and a strike to Bagwell.
Tony La Russa told us that before the game he was unhappy with the actions of Tavares, but also said it was the first time he'd done anything like that for this club this year, and he said, I'm not going to waste or wash away 6.5 months of good for one bad thing.
A liner right at Renteria. Couple of hard hit balls in the inning, but right at Renteria. Of course, you never know what might happen down near the bottom part of the order, but this is such a big inning for the Cardinals. If you retire Berkman here, you're getting to the bottom part of that order that's done very little damage in this entire LCS.
And other than Mike Lamb, they really have no power available off the bench to potentially pinch hit for some of those guys at the bottom of the order.
1-1 on Berkman. The last Houston hit was Morgan Ensberg's single into left field back in the 4th inning. Houston has had only 1 base runner since, and that was a 2-strike pitch that hit Orlando Palmeiro in the 7th inning. Cardinal pitching lights out here tonight so far. To Berkman. Knocked down by Tavares. Picking it up, Renteria. Picked out of the dirt by Poole. It got him in the hand where he has the broken bone. Tavares in pain. Marlon Anderson to bat for Julian Tavares. First pitch swinging, lined into right center field. Off the wall. And Anderson with a pinch hit double.
Now this comebacker just catches touches the outside of the glove there of Julian Tavares. You can see how swollen his hand is. Just an instinctive play. Sees that ball headed back up the middle, tries to knock it down. Fortunately for him, not dead on contact, but what a great play by Renteria. The bare hand, strong throw in the dirt. Pujols with the pick.
Now Renteria puts down the bunt. Boy, the Cardinals have played small ball at its absolute finest here tonight. Every situation executed to perfection.
Dropping this ball down to the left side of the field, making either the third baseman or the pitcher have to field it. That allows Marlon Anderson to walk to third base. Perfect fundamental baseball, which is what they've done all season long. They made their first error in the postseason tonight on a play where Edmonds tried to throw the ball to third base. That was a very tough error to take.
At number 9 spot in the batting order tonight for St. Louis. A suicide squeeze sacrifice by Jeff Suppan. A pinch hit single and a run scored by Roger Cedeno. And now a pinch hit double by Marlon Anderson. Here's Larry Walker with the infield drawn in. Strike one from Oswalt. Cardinals trying to tack on one more. Give Isringhausen a bit more breathing room in the ninth. Runner at third, 1-1 to Walker. Broken bat, base hit right field, 5-2 St. Louis. Get him on, get him over, get him in.
That infield drawn in, it doesn't take much to get the ball through. Just to the right of Jeff Bagwell, to the left of Jeff Kent. Sure, the barrel of that bat distracted both the right side infielders as it gets through into right.
Breaking ball rolled over foul by Pujols, who tied the game with a double down the left field line with 2 out in the 6th inning. And then scored the go-ahead run on the 2-run home run by Scott Rolen. A missile in the center field, a base hit. 2 on, 1 out. Let's send it downstairs to Chris Myers.
Tom, Albert Pujols doesn't need any help when it comes to hitting, but here at Busch Stadium he has a built-in advantage. He's one of many Cardinal players who goes between the dugout and clubhouse in a video room where he can analyze his last at-bat and what the pitcher is doing. He did that prior to the previous at-bat when he delivered what was then the tying run against Roger Clemens. He obviously found something on the video he likes.
Two more hits in a game today.
Albert Pujols, when he goes back to that video room, especially this season, always saw something that he likes.
Rolen broke the 2-2 tie in the 6th inning with a home run down the left field line. Double play ball here. Vizcaíno, Kent, and that will end the inning. The Astros come to bat in the 9th inning. Game 7 of the National League Championship Series, down 3 against Jason Isringhausen. Top of the 9th inning, Game 7 of this National League Championship Series. And the Cardinals bring on their closer. who has struggled in this postseason, and in particular in this league championship series, and he's coming off a 3-inning outing, his longest of the year, in Game 6 yesterday.
Which was his 81st appearance of this season. The highest in any year before this was 68 appearances for Jason Isringhausen, so he is in uncharted waters here.
He was unscored upon his first 3 games in this LCS, games 1, 2, and 4. He gave up the 3-run home run to Jeff Kent, ending Game 5, and the tying run in the 9th inning yesterday. Cardinals 3 outs away from a trip to the World Series with the Boston Red Sox. Jeff Kent to lead it off. First pitch swinging, pops it up. Walker a long run and right. Who wants it? And Womack, a sliding grab. What a play that was. Walker, it didn't look like would get there.
Walker playing very deep, respecting Jeff Kent's power, and Tony Womack has to go out there, not only battle that pop-up, but the wind pushing that ball further towards the foul line. And boy, once again with those back spasms, Tony Womack really showing us something here tonight.
Womack has a World Series ring, as does left fielder Reggie Sanders, both with your 2001 Arizona Diamondbacks, and they're sniffing it now in St. Louis. 2 pitches, fly ball into left center, 2 outs. The Cardinals' last trip to the World Series, 1987 against the Giants. Danny Cox, a complete Game 5 hitter, got Chili Davis to end it. The 15th trip to the World Series for the Cardinals. And of course it was 1967 when the Cardinals locked up with the Boston Red Sox in a 7-game World Series. Jose Vizcaino, the batter. Strike 1. The fan base of the 2 franchises that could meet in the World Series. Red Sox Nation and these rabid St. Louis Cardinal fans. Strike 2. On the ground to second. And for the first time since 1987, the St. Louis Cardinals are going to the World Series. What an amazing year for the St. Louis Cardinals. Picked by most to finish a distant third to the Cubs and the Astros in the National League Central. They won 105 games during the regular season. They wiped out the Dodgers in the division series, and a 7-game thriller over Houston in the LCS. The celebration is on in St. Louis. They have been the best team in the National League all year and will represent the National League against Boston in the Fall Classic starting Saturday. You know this feeling, Bob Brennan.
Nothing quite like it in the world except for a Game 7 win in the World Series. Such a long season for both of these teams. The Astros are to be congratulated for the way they finished strong, the way they represented their organization here in this NLCS, but tonight belongs to the Cardinals. What a tremendous season for Tony La Russa, his staff, and this entire ball club.
Tony La Russa has had his share of critics here in St. Louis. They brought him here to get him to a World Series. They reached the LCS 3 times, losing 3 times. He told us before the ball game that this St. Louis fan base in his city has embraced him from day one. And perhaps now he knows the feeling of Whitey Herzog and so many before him that are part of a very special family called the St. Louis Cardinals organization.
Tony La Russa and his coaching staff standing in foul territory just down the first baseline. Out of respect for these players, allowing them their moment to celebrate in front of their home fans.
Scott Rolen will get his first taste of the World Series. So will Mike Matheny. 2 very deserving players. Hard-nosed, rugged.
They play the game the right way.
Let's go downstairs to Chris Myers.
Well, that was a lengthy celebration. Congratulations, you're going to your first World Series.
Yeah, what excitement, you know. We got to make it lengthy. It was a lot of fun. It's been worthwhile. It's just a good time, and we're enjoying it.
Talk about the, I know when you came to this team during the year, you were, I guess, alerted to how smart a baseball team this was. We saw small ball, we saw power ball. You're in the big series.
Well, you know, we got every element. We got guys who hit the long ball. We got guys who get people over. We got a pretty smart manager to boot.
Talk about facing the Boston Red Sox.
Well, it's going to be a challenge. Obviously, they're riding a high, too, coming back after being down 0-3. But we're looking forward to it. We're going to enjoy it tonight and then make our way there.
All right, thanks, Larry Walker.
Right,
Tom?
Chris, thank you very much. We're going to take a quick timeout. We'll bring you more celebration as well as the trophy presentation. The Cardinals are National League champions. 4 games to 3 over Houston. 5-2 our final. A family celebration here in St. Louis. Cardinals is advancing on to the World Series. Let's go downstairs to Chris Myers.
All right, thanks, Tom. The celebration continues. You're not kidding. Family celebration. Scott Rolen's wife is here, and they're as Julia Tavares is hugging her, pregnant with their first child. Scott, congratulations first on making it to the World Series.
Thank you very much. This is unbelievable. This is, I mean, everybody's here going crazy. This is a once in a lifetime opportunity right here. We're never going to forget this moment. I can tell you that.
And I know you grew up in Indiana, Cardinal fan, right? You used to come to the games as a kid. I mean, do you ever imagine that, hey, you'd be hitting a home run, helping the team get into the World Series?
No, you never imagine things like that. You grow up and you dream of playing in a World Series, and we're fortunate to have that opportunity right now.
Can you talk about the at-bat and the big hit off Roger Clemens, the 2-run homer?
I don't really. We got 2 runs out of it. That's all I care about. I don't really remember much of it. I saw the ball over the plate, and it came off the bat well and ended up going over the fence. So I was about as excited as I've ever been running around the bases.
Can you talk about this season, 105 wins, then getting in, people still questioning whether this team could make it to the World Series or not, and the tough battle the Astros gave you?
Yeah, you're good. I mean, the Astros, that's as a group of professionals and the biggest class act in baseball, no doubt. Those guys have been there a long time. They know how to compete. That's as competitive group as there is, and they're great professionals, and it's a great competition.
All right, good luck to you and the family. Have fun at the World Series. All right, Scott, let's go back up to Tom.
Chris, thank you. Congratulations, Scott Rolen and the St. Louis Cardinals. Will have the trophy presentation in a moment. Celebration continues at Busch Stadium in St. Louis. The Cardinals 5-2 winners in Game 7 of this National League Championship Series. And standing by in the Cardinal clubhouse for the trophy presentation, let's go downstairs to Steve Lyons.
All right, Tom, thank you very much. Joining me here on the podium is Bill Giles, who's the honorary National League president. To my right is Mr. DeWitt, who is the chairman and CEO of the St. Louis Cardinals. To his right, the senior vice president and general manager, Walt Jocketty. And Mr. Giles, you have a piece of hardware to present to Mr. DeWitt that bears your father's name, the Warren C. Giles National League Championship Trophy.
Well, it was a fantastic series. I mean, the whole postseason has been wonderful. We set an all-time attendance record in baseball, and this series was just wonderful. Both teams played very, very well, and your great organization won it. So I'm honored to present this trophy, named after my dad, who is a good friend of your dad's, the Warren Giles Trophy, to the St. Louis Cardinals, the 2004 National League champions.
Thank you very much, Bill. I'm accepting this on behalf of the great fans of the city of St. Louis. This is unbelievable. This is baseball country, and I know 50,000 are still out on the field waiting for this presentation to take place.
You know, I think it's been a long time, since 1987, that you've been able to show the world that this is baseball country. Tell me a little bit about what it means to have your St. Louis Cardinals back in the World Series.
Well, this is tremendous. You know, this is our 4th trip to the NLCS, and we prevailed this time. What a great team, a magnificent team. We 105 wins after being picked to finish 3rd in the division. We beat LA, and we beat a great Houston team. So we couldn't be more excited or proud of our guys.
Enjoy that. Go get that trophy wet. Let me talk to Mr. Jocketty over here, Walt. Oh, I got you. When this season ended last year, you knew that you had a lot of holes to fill in that lineup. You go out and sign Reggie Sanders. You get Jeff Suppan. You get Larry Walker at a trading deadline. Did you have any idea that this team would be put together as quickly as it was, and now you're in the World Series?
Well, Steve, we had a lot of holes to fill, you said. We made a couple of trades, signed a few guys. And we didn't really know until we got to spring training what we had. But once we got to spring training, we saw that Chris Carpenter was healthy, that what we had was Suppan and Marquis and with the bullpen. And Tony and his staff did an outstanding job this year putting it all together. And it's been a fantastic year. And there's the greatest bunch of guys that have been around in this game. I've been in a long time, but it's only appropriate that they get a chance to play in the World Series.
Excellent job. Congratulations. Let's get your manager in here, Tony La Russa. Tony, congratulations. Going back to the World Series, you were in it, won it in 1989. Describe the differences between that team you had there and then going to another World Series with these St. Louis Cardinals.
I don't know, you know, this group, a lot of these guys have missed twice. Their 3rd time was a charm. You know, it's very disappointing every time we lost, and to go against the Astros to pull it off, it's got great, you can't describe how great it feels, and we'll be ready to play Saturday.
Talk a little bit about this series and the great baseball that was played and the fact that the Houston Astros put on a tremendous show against you guys.
Yeah, I mean, you could replay every one of those games. They play the game exactly like we do. They make plays. They take great at-bats. Their pitchers compete. I mean, that's why the game's so close. We do that every, 18 times a year. So we have the utmost respect for them, and sometimes when you do that and you beat a club like that, it means even more.
This guy standing next to you, Albert Pujols, has been named the National League Championships Series MVP. I want to ask you a quick question about Albert before we get to him. We said before you've managed a lot of great players. Is this the best you've ever managed?
I always ask Albert I want to be introduced to the guy that taught him how to play, because I didn't have anything to do with it, but he knows how to play this game. He's a great player.
Albert, this is your 3rd trip to the National League in the playoffs. Your first 2 trips, you were okay. This year, monster numbers. You hit 500 for the series, 4 home runs. You're the MVP of the series. Is this a dream come true for you?
Thank you. It's definitely. It's everybody's little boy dream. But, I'm glad I got the MVP. But that trophy is going to stay in this clubhouse because everybody here are the MVP, and that's what it's all about. It's about teamwork. We came through. We did it all year long. We did it in the postseason, and thank you to the Lord, we did it in front of our 52,000 people, our home.
Talk about a little bit about the at-bat where you had the double against Clemens. Were you surprised at how many fastballs you see from Rogers in today's game?
Well, it was in my, that's why Roger's been so successful in his career, because he don't pitch the same way. If we faced him last week, he threw a lot of splitter, a lot of sliders, and we knew here he was going to change something. He was throwing a lot of hitter. And on that bat, I just want to get a good pitch to him and try to put it in play and hopefully tie the game. I thank the Lord we came through.
You talked about that trophy, Mr. Giles. You have the National League Championship trophy for the MVP for Albert Pujols.
You're an awesome player. I've never seen a young hitter as good as you are.
Thank you.
Congratulations, and go beat the darn American Leaguers, will you?
Thank you.
Albert, one more question before we let you go. We know you've played in Fenway Park, but now you get the Red Sox for real in a World Series. Your thoughts about facing the Red Sox?
It won't be easy, man. I mean, they got Pedro, they got Lowe, they got Arroyo, they got Schilling, Warfield, and they got great hitters, I got a lot of good friends over there, David Ortiz, Manny Ramirez, and it's great to play against those guys. Being in the Dominican, this is a dream, but still you have a good team over there. You need to respect those guys. We need to go out there and play our best because they're going to be ready for us, and hopefully, we come through.
Albert, congratulations. Go enjoy the celebration with the rest of your teammates. And this guy's going so good, he named Kurt Schilling as the #4 starter for the Red Sox. Guys, let's send it back upstairs to you.
Steve, thank you so much. The producer of tonight's game, Jeff Gowan. Our director, Jim Lynch. Our associate producer, Carol Langley McDermott. The associate director, Eric Billigmeyer. Our broadcast associate, Zach Fields. And our technical producer, Dan Rotante. Our technical director, Jeff Butler. Our audio mixer, Jeff Cohen. We can't say thank you enough to our crew that's worked coast to coast, day in and day out, bringing you this National League Championship Series. Guys, you're the best. The senior producer of Fox Sports is Bill Brown. Our executive producers, David Hill and Ed Goy. For Steve Lyons, Bob Brindley, Chris Myers, and our entire crew, Tom Brenneman saying thanks so much for joining us. Jeannie Zelasco and Kevin Kennedy return from the Fox Network Center. The Cardinals beat Boston in the World Series Saturday.